Ladies and gentlemen, we now begin the inaugural session of ObserveNow's third BFSI Confluence 2026. To commence the session, I would like to invite our guest of honor, Shri Sumnesh Joshi, Deputy Director General, Ministry of Communications and IT, Government of India, to please join us on stage and address the audience. Sir, over to you.
Distinguished guests, industry stalwarts, innovators, policymakers, new startups, ladies and gentlemen, very warm good morning to all of you. And I'm thankful to ObserveNow to make me the part of this conference. So I will not take much technical details because I've seen the agenda. Many speakers who are expert in the domain are going to deliver. And I hope that you are going to enrich by those conversations. Now today, what we are seeing, the transformation that has happened in India in last decade, if we see. From telecom perspective, from 2014 to today, the internet connections from 25 crore to 100 crore. Broadband connection, 6 crore to 100 crore. The data consumption per user per month, 64 MB to 24 GB. 1.4 billion digital identity, Aadhaar, 1 billion plus bank account, and so many things. And India has shown the world this digital public good infrastructure that we have created. So what we are going to discuss today, that how the future is going to be shaped in this new era where all new technology like AI, blockchain, is a total data-driven society. What we should do. Now, this entire, landscape, so we call this digital public good infrastructure, has actually changed the life of the citizen across the country that we couldn't have imagined without the DPI. A person sitting in the remote village is getting the direct subsidy in his, her or bank account. He or she is able to do the banking online, can apply for any service online, and actually now part of the formal economy because all the transactions are happening online. So because of this DPI, we have changed the way we are delivering the services and the consumer are consuming the services. But other side is that all we are hearing that cyber security, data security, privacy, all these issues are there where maybe we can make use of this new technology. What we are making, it's not a digital economy, it's an inclusive digital economy. We are ensuring that everyone at the last mile should be the part of the formal economy. And we are building a trust. It's not only technologically we are empowering the last citizen, we are creating the trust. So he or she is consuming the services in today's environment using the digital means. Now what next? How we can use this DPI, because this DPI has actually created so many opportunity and access in the financial inclusion and so many products that we can still deliver to the ecosystem or the last mile. And the foundation is, because right now I'm working with the Ministry of Communication and part of the connectivity. And this connectivity has actually laid a foundation on that all the DPI is working. So it's not only a telecom network, I can say, it has become a economic network or economic connectivity, because everything is now taken care through this digital means, and connectivity is part and parcel of this. And because of that, we are using Aadhaar, we are using UPI, we are using DigiLocker, an account aggregator, FASTag. What we are seeing in today's ecosystem, wherever, all the DG Yatra, your income tax filing. So all this digital means is happening because of the technology, and we have made possible each and every nook and corner of our country. So now, what we exactly want using this new technology, one can say that yes, we are good enough. Everything is coming in a second. UPI, we are seeing, everyone is praising, and other countries are, after India, that how India has delivered this transformation, such a population scale. And it's not a joke. So what we are doing, it's commendable. And so in the AI-driven, I would like to touch that what problem we can solve. What I am seeing that we can solve now the friction that every citizen is facing on day-to-day life. Sometimes we feel that yes, everything is fine, but still there's a friction when we are giving the services. So that problem we can solve. And small things. Just yesterday I got a call. Someone is trying to avail some services using the birth certificate. Downloading the birth certificate from the civil registration, system. But the QR code is leading to another URL, not able to verify it. Now, whose fault is? So this is one example. So whenever we design something, that we have to ensure that it should be properly tested, and if at all any problem, so one should know, because the gentleman is very educated, but still he is not able to figure out what to do. So maybe we have to find some solution, or we can use something that, and maybe we can do the data. Maybe it's not only one person. Maybe it's a bug in the system. There may be hundreds or lakhs of it. I don't know, but maybe there are n number of persons who are facing the same thing, but the system is not aware. Maybe from the data, using the AI, one can continually monitor or supervise the system, that the system is behaving in the same fashion. For example, in banking system, of course, last at least 3, 4, 5 years, everyone is working that crunching the data and analyzing all the transactions patterns, right? And try to stop all these fraudulent transactions based on some decision they are making out after crunching the data. Then the next issue that we are facing, even the educated person, forget about the illiterate person also. So many messages are coming, what to do, whether I should click or not, whether it's a genuine message or not. If call is coming, whether it's a genuine call or not, it's very difficult. So how I can create a system that, yes, at least I'm 100% sure that, yes, I have to pick it up, this is the correct message, or I can click it, sort of thing. This is again a challenge. And many, typically, the senior citizens are, losing their lifetime savings. We are reading those stories in the paper. So we can find some solution on that. Maybe from government side, many initiatives have been taken. 1930, of course, the number that once crime has happened, in 30 minutes you can call. Sanchar Sathi, using that Ministry of Communication app, you can report all these suspected and calls or message. And TRI has come out with this trusted sender framework that maybe, I don't know how many are aware, when you receive the SMS, there's a something promotional dash P dash service dash transaction and dash G, that is the government message. So you can find out that it is coming from the trusted, and then your OTP has come from the correct, source. So this is how, we are taking, and what is happening because of the AI or the deep fake and, synthetic, data or this synthetic voice and all the intelligent phishing attacks, this problem is becoming grave. So we have to work hard. And I'm hopeful that maybe in today's conference, someone will throw more details that how we can ensure that it should not happen in today's, data-driven era. And because many issues like SIMs are getting swapped, fake KYC, we are reading the story of, manipulating of the biometrics, many things that we have to think that how we can, and remote, access, and someone is, sending the APK file and taking the complete access of your mobile and your laptop, etc. So maybe it's very, scary as such. But of course, we have to find the solution and we have to go forward in the today's digital economy. So what we can do to make citizen aware that what you can do when something is happening with you. So all these things, it's the duty of every organization to ensure that the citizen should respond quickly and we should give the answer quickly. We have to protect the last mile. This is how you have to create the trust. Because if there's no trust, it's very difficult to launch a product, and otherwise people will, you have acquire a customer after a struggle, maybe, to losing a customer is just a matter of seconds. So we have to create that trust. So what it is required is a collaboration between all the stakeholders. And here Ministry of Communication has created digital intelligence unit where around 1,200 plus entities like law enforcement agencies and telcos and UIDAI, state government, various departments, are onboarded and they are sharing the data. Of course, with the, it's all, the consent and privacy is being taken care, right? But through that, when information is getting shared, and then they have come out with some AI tool, that financial risk indicator, FRI, so that which mobile is risky, it's a fraudulent mobile. Because the data is coming through the citizen as well as the banking fraternity also that. Because they are also doing some, data analysis using the AI tools. So this is how we are able to stop. And another thing that the validation of the mobile numbers are also happening that initial when there was no digital KYC or Aadhaar KYC, many mobile numbers have been given using the paper-based KYC system. So we don't know that maybe how many mobile numbers are working on a particular person's name, and I don't know if someone is having doubts, so please download the Sanchar Saathi and verify that how many numbers are working on your name. Maybe someone may be misusing your mobile number on your name. If something will happen, then maybe police will come to your home, they say, oh, it's not my mobile. So, but I'm not saying that you do this, that police will not come at your doorstep, but I'm sure that, it's your Jan Bhagidari sort of thing, because more and more data will come to us, we can make our system more, strong. So everyone will be, feel safe. And maybe eventually if all work together, then we have everything trusted in the ecosystem. Anywhere, all the entities are having the trusted system with the multi-factor authentication. So maybe to a certain points we can, reduce, all these, fraudsters or take care of the cyber security. Then another area that what I'm seeing that, many services were delivering, but still there's a huge market with respect to insurance and mutual fund. We have to create the trust and the remote area we can provide the service. When I see house help or the people who are working, as a driver at our cars, maybe their salary is 25,000, 30,000 sort of thing, and they are, maybe if migrant labor, they are not having the BPL card sort of thing, and they get sick. See, 500,000 rupees, the doctors are taking fees. See, so can we think something that can we provide some insurance, the low ticket insurance to them? That is very much required. The taxi driver, many taxi drivers, when I speak, still what I am finding, maybe 50% of taxi drivers are not having their own car. They are taking everyday taxi and giving the 300 rupees as a rent per day, and revenue earned is 3,000 rupees. Now, you all are financial expert. The kind of interest rate he is giving, 10% per day. Can we solve these issues? In today's, when so much data is available, unified, lending infrastructure, ULI has been launched by the RBI. So we have to, think about all these things and using all these AI tools and find out that the creditworthiness, proactively approach all these things and make them that to use these products, make their life simple, make them part of the formal economy, right? They can grow, nation will grow, and we will achieve this Viksit Bharat, similar to the mutual fund, etc. One more point that I would like to tell that where we have to work, the financial literacy. Because we have become so digital, but if we are going to use all digital things and there's no financial literacy, we don't know where to click, how we have to transact. So we are, the victims of the, this vulnerability. We are vulnerable to the fraudster because I don't know. I'm not financially literate, but I want to use. It's just like that. I don't know how to drive a car, but I'm driving the car. So ultimately the accident will happen. So we have to ensure the financial literacy along with the cyber security literacy and the digital literacy, all these things. So what will happen? Because today we are seeing the senior citizens are struggling that, how to use the app. In the rural area, the person is not able to use the app because he's not well versed with the English thing. What to do? And then all the language barrier, and then so solution now has come using all new tools that, yes, we can have the multilingual, voice-based, solutions, right? We can work, or maybe, of course, some of the entities are developing those solutions, but we have to take it to the remote area. And government is ready to help. Many schemes are there. We are supporting it. And DPI is already available. And finally, the human touch. Maybe the machine is there to detect the anomaly. Sometimes what happens, system rejects that, yes, Sumnesh Joshi is not able to receive this benefit. But I'm saying I have given everything perfect. But because of some mistake, or maybe my sign is not matching, but system is saying rejected. And there's no exception handling mechanism. Even the person wants to help me, but he or she can't help. So these all small issues we have to take care when we design any system. That I have learned when I worked with Aadhaar, when we rolled out the public distribution system, the ration, so that is very important. So the exceptional handling system, because sometimes system fails, or because of some reason system is not working, or sometimes machine is not giving the result. Machine can help. That can augment, the way we are functioning, but ultimately it is the responsibility of the human. So human understand the reality and can take the decisions. This is what we require in today's data-driven economy, where AI is going to take a prominent role. So today, what I want to say as a concluding remark, that we have the DPI in place, good foundation. Already we are reaping benefit of it, but now we have to work more towards citizen-centric sort of thing, that we have to find out that where still the friction is. Maybe what we see is small, it's a good when we see ourselves, but there are, you speak, find out from the survey, still there are many people who are finding it difficult to use. So to include those in the system, please try to find out and use this DPI and the AI tools to reduce these frictions and make them the part of the formal economy. And lastly, I will give 3-4 things that when we say the digital by design, many acts and everything is coming, we say digital by design. Sometimes say the privacy by design, but now I say it should be trust by design. Because trust is a very important key. And all systems should become explainable and transparent and accountable. Because sometimes, the systems say, and then the people say, no, I don't know, the system is given. See, what system is given? you should also know, the people should know, yes, it's very transparent. Yeah, this is my actually reflection. Because in today's or the coming future time, I will known as a data. I'm just an entity in the digital ecosystem. For example, Aadhaar, I can say, is a digital identity. I'm known as Aadhaar as an identity. And the next wave of inclusion, as already I told, that please work, it should come from the multilingual voice-enabled and citizen-friendly. And grievance redressal, please give more time and devote some time, have a good grievance redressal policy in place. And finally, technology must preserve the human dignity. So thank you very much. And once again, I thank ObserveNow for inviting me here. And all the best for the full day conference. Thank you. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, sir, for your valuable insights and inspiring words. Next, it's my privilege to invite our guest of honor, Mr. Akshay Yadav, Director, UIDAI, to kindly come forward and address the gathering. Over to you, sir.
So you can put that stack. I had given perfect. My apologies. I wanted to break the monotony and didn't want to give a conventional address. Wanted it to be a little more interactive. So namaskar, good morning, and good to be amongst you. Gratitude to ObserveNow. Sumnesh sir has highlighted a lot of important points. I'm going to dwell on them a little more and try to align with your thoughts on fraud. Something that is part and parcel of our daily lives now. You open the front page, you open page 3, or you are using your mobile to read news. Somehow it's the most important pop-up ticker which catches your attention. Next. Why I put the first one was, gone are the days of trusting anybody. So every shift right or a shift left or every click pressed is experience and as exposure which we are risking ourselves to. These numbers, all of us know, just for general value, this is how the landscape has changed because of digital public infrastructure. I'm sure all of us who represent the BFSI sector are aware of it. There are solutions that you have built which are now at scale, which are utilizing the stack. Next. Sorry, I'll be asking you to move on next because I don't have the controller. Some numbers again, just to bore you a little bit. I have something more interesting after that. Next. This is what has changed. I would request for a very introspective view at your end from when you were doing or accessing services in 2020 to the time that you are accessing services in 2026. So what changed in onboarding? Physical documents went away. Now it is touchless, digital completely. All of us are completely attuned to it. I'll manage with next, don't worry. So, sorry. And I have to manage the time also. So, just to get me back to my thoughts, authentication again was passwords, OTPs, etc. Gone are the days again. We have incorporated face authentication, not only UIDAI, but entities across the sector. You are using multi-factor authentication. Means of authentication have become more exhaustive, more secure, but still frauds are taking place. Payments, we've all got used to UPI. I would say, and my apologies for making this statement, and I've said it on plenty of forums. So COVID was a black swan event, which kind of propagated the use of touchless payments, and now we've all got used to it, be it the rickshawalas, be it our house helps, or be it our own kids who are below 15, everybody's got used to it. The next part is the service model. We've come to accept digitized services as a right, because you have grown up in a system. This generation of white-haired people like me and black-haired people who are in the majority down below are used to everything being done through their mobiles. And apologies, I said white-haired people like me. So the dice don't work with me. Next. Can you move on next, please? Okay. So again, I will just cover all of this UPI, Aadhaar, DigiLocker. What did it get for you? I'm sure each one of you is aware. You are used to DigiLocker, accessing documents, created a wallet, which is one single interface for you to pull anything and push anything, and everybody accepts it, and still fraud originates from here. UPI, again, gateway payments, environment is talking and the regulators are talking. Do we want to put a red flag on high volume transactions being delayed? We've got so used to instant that you are passing on transactions worth lakhs, 1 lakh, and or 50,000, and then suddenly you're getting worried whether it was me or somebody else. And Om Prakash is down below. I am assuming he's echoing my sentiment as well. Sorry for pointing you out. So he was having a nice smile, and that's why. And we're good friends. Coming on to the next one, please. So what are we living with? And please take the headers only. Identity theft, you are living with it right now. Whether on social platforms, whether on OSINT, whether on manipulated, created synthetic identities, be it fingerprints or be it your replica itself, or be it a complete social identity that you are able to stitch based on the profile and the inputs that you've shared on platforms. So whatever you put out on the Wild West web comes to haunt you 5 years or 1 year from now. So be restrictive. What you are used to and what you've got accustomed to now reading is my opening statement, financial frauds. The landscape of frauds is not restricted now to urban domains only. It is in tier 3, 4 and 5. And that is where that point of Sumnesh sir comes up, that financial literacy is something that each one of us has to build in as a mandatory requirement for every solution of scale that we want to take down to the field. Replicated fingerprints, all of you have heard about gummy fingerprints. We deal with it on a day-to-day basis, and you still have people who try to attempt it. There are a lot of mediums which are preventing it. AI is now built into the system to kind of check it, but there are still some slippages that take place. Last is silent debit frauds. Again, why I give this point is 500,000 auto debit में आपके बैंक अकाउंट से जाएगा, will not worry you, you will not even look at it, और ये महीने दर महीने जाता रहेगा, you will not look at your bank statement also. 50,000 एक बार में जाएगा and you will call 1930, make your bank manager sweat for heaven to hell कि मेरा पैसा कैसे गया. You have to live with it again. So awareness is not about 50,000, awareness is about that 500 or 250. Next. So on the left table or left bank, I have put the volumes in terms of transaction amounts that were the loss that we suffered. On the right bank, I have tried to, my apologies to the fellow speakers, that your backsides are to it, but I'm sure you all, and if you're seeing it from here, perfectly all right. Yes, I didn't take cognizance of it. Right bank tells you what we prevented. This is what is not coming in the news media. So Sanchar Sathi, 9.4 lakh SIM cards. Because of that, fraud accounts or linked accounts or devices, you have the number 2.6 lakhs. 5,000 crores in potential savings. Why do you consider it as a potential saving? Why is a fraud considered to be a fraud just because a debit has taken place? A fraud should be considered a fraud even if you have been able to put a stop to it from the time that it was attempted. That's the biggest saving. That's the value that you will put back into the R&D to bring about better solutions. Next. So again, I will just skip through this very fast. What you need to do. My only point is, please take your attention to the first top line. Teaching scammers that karma is a firewall is something that we have to live with, something we have to breathe in day out, because there will be a lot of experts amongst the set of audience sitting down below who will be working on some solution to beat somebody as stupid as me who's trying to propagate a process of a fraud. So hats off to you. You have a thankless job. You do it day in and day out. The users at the other end may not be aware about it, but thank you and kudos to you. What you bring back into the system is what I have listed in a vertical setup. Next. So, face authentication, all of us are aware. The closest that you have experienced it, and I'm sure a lot of you would have experienced it, is Digi Yatra. That for us is something like UPI Lite. It is the most secure medium of doing authentication, establishes a proof of presence and establishes a valid credential confirmation that you only did that authentication or confirmation. OTPs can be passed on the telephone to anybody and everybody. So that's where the change lies. Next. This is what we are headed into. So the AAA standard now is no more AAA. It is artificial intelligence, it is agentic AI, and it is red teaming using agentic AI to prevent frauds. Something that the institutional setup is doing, we are looking at CBDC and tokenization. The last 3 GFFs, we've had regular discussions on it. From 2020, banks at scale have been propagating implementation of CBDC or the e-rupee. It's at a nascent stage in our case. I'm sure it will gain traction, and once it gains traction, you will have end-to-end accountability. The guidelines of RBI in terms of CKYC are already aware to everyone. So your regulator is kind of giving you an impetus to comply to these guidelines to make our lives safer, our usage experience safer. Some amount of changes that have taken place in terms of identity infra, in terms of transaction spends. I have a point again, and we were discussing it when we were waiting to join all of you here. Why are we so happy with instant transactions? Why are we so happy with instant onboardings? I'm sure you will have a 5-star standard if you get a 10-minute delay for somebody to do an enhanced due diligence, take a confirmation, and give you that added security. It's in our interest. It's not an individual interest. It's in the organization interest. It's in the individual interest. And it's with the tech solution provider also, in whose interest, who's built that solution. Somebody will take cognizance of it, use this scale of a solution and implement it across the industry. So my point for this is that everything is changing on a day-to-day basis. Large language models, when we say, are not native to India, we need to have models which are based on Indian data sets. It is because our spending patterns, our thinking patterns, our experience sets are different from the Western environment. Aapka 100 rupees, 50 rupees ka transaction is not something that they are aware of, and they don't have that kind of access. I was with somebody who's come all the way from France yesterday, and he is wanting to study the complete UPI landscape of instant payments. They don't have access to it. They only have access to it in certain select centers, and it was sent 2 years back. The stack was shared. So there's a lot of interest in what we are doing. If we are the benchmark leaders, give me a minute and I'll finish. If we are the benchmark leaders, we have to think ahead of them. Next. So this is what we are coming up with, and I will skip this part, offline verification seeking entities. Only key point is, all of you who are building solution on the digital landscape, please take your mind back to the bank account opening where you were filling a form. Serial 5 of that form gives you a dispensation where you have to fill a form 6 to do whether you are doing a eKYC or no. If not doing a eKYC, you are getting an onboarding done through a physical document that's been digitized. How it's been digitized? Next slide. Is the new Aadhaar application that is on your mobile. So that gives, it's something like a wallet. It's already available on the Play Store and iOS for everybody to use. Gives you a selective share capability to share your data. Credentials on that wallet are verified credentials. Charges are 0. License fee is 0. So your last mile digital onboarding, which was practically physical, can be digitized as well. That's the only takeaway from this. Next. These are the entities that have come on board. A lot of them, different environments, different sectors, different regulators, private enterprise as well. Next. Next. So this is what I want to leave you with. Trust, it's a constant battle. It's something like a marathon you keep on running. And it's a lifestyle that you have to live with. And the last takeaway is, at the end of it, we'll all have a very productive discussion today. There are a lot of topics, and I went through the schedule for today, which are very interesting. There's something on AI, faster onboarding, security, standard topics that we discuss on different forums and want to get takeaways out of it. My only point is, if you want to stay secure yourself, make it easier for the other person whom you are going to push that end use case to, for him or her to understand that what are the essential requirements for them to stay secure in the current environment when we are digitized end to end. And the takeaway, I have already listed it on the bottom of the view foil. Stay secure, stay suspicious, don't trust anybody. It is a zero trust architecture. And thanks to God, stop clicking on any links. I'm sure your banks and your native applications don't push any reward dynamics to you in terms of free payaways. No, nobody does. So thank you. I wish ObserveNow, all the best for a very productive conference. And I'm sure there are a lot of takeaways that are going to come out of it. My only request will be at the end of the day, if they can be tabulated and circulated to every member who attended the conference today, that would be the best thing, where you will get something pre-documented for you to pick and choose what is of value to you. Thank you and namaskar.
Thank you so much, sir, for such an insightful address. Also, is trust a one-time setup is definitely going to stay with all of us forever. Mr. Sumnesh Joshi, our guest of honor for today, has to take a leave right now because has to be somewhere. Can I request Ms. Sumina Mehrotra, Principal Enterprise Marketing Manager, Growth and Partner Marketing India from Adobe, to please come up on the stage and felicitate him with a token of appreciation? Can we have a huge round of applause from Shri Sumnesh Joshi? Thank you so much for being here today with us, sir. It truly means a lot. Thank you so much for being here today, sir. And now, moving to our keynote addresses. Please join me in welcoming Mr. Ranjan Bhattacharya, Managing Director, Head of Strategy for India and Middle East, HSBC Bank, to take the stage for his keynote address.
Thank you, ObserveNow, and it's a pleasure and honor to be here with you today. From my perspective, firstly, a quick round of introduction. Been with HSBC for the last 25 years, and in my current role, very deeply involved with Middle East as well as India. And on that note, I thought today, amidst a lot of bankers and technologists here, why don't I perhaps zoom out a little bit and perhaps lay the context of where we stand as this room, as the banking sector, as the BFSI extended family. What is the world that we today live in? A world which has suddenly changed in the last 30 to 60 days, right? And therefore, to lay the context of how that becomes relevant to the conversations in this room today. In my role, I get the honor of also speaking to a number of policymakers, number of ambassadors, high commissioners, trade delegations. And for the first time in the last more than 1 year, the conversations didn't start with AI. So I thought, in that spirit, let me also, perhaps start with something more simple, something more fundamental. And I'm really glad that the very thing that I wanted to start with is something Akshay ji ended with, which is the word trust. So on that premise, let me start with the very fact that the word I bank on you means I trust you. That is how fundamental the word trust is to our industry. Forgetting the geopolitical events, if you just look at the BFSI events in our own market, the way BFSI stocks are today in the capital market, it does reflect incidents or events which perhaps eroded a little bit of that trust. As a sector, even as we move forward at a rapid pace, embracing digital, how are we taking our clients with us? How are we taking our stakeholders with us? And continuing to assure them that we are there with them for the long haul, right? If you look back just around a decade or so back, right, before the bankruptcy code came in, we had gone to NPA level as an industry of around 11%. Today we are down to 2.3 to 2.4%. So we enter a period of turbulence with a relative position of strength. As a banking industry, we've won back the trust that this industry has been able to manage its balance sheets. We've evolved a best-in-class digital payment system, which is looked at by every country that we talk to. We heard about the French. I am actively involved with the British. The Americans continue to reevaluate what UPI is and continue to be challenged to come to anything close to this, right? I think Brazil is the only place where I think they have something which is very similar to UPI and doing very well. Again, an emerging market which is very similar to us. But the fact is, today, Indian banking sector comes to clients, comes to regulators, comes to government, not with a problem statement, but as a platform. The sector is a platform on which trust is inherent, right? And that's where I think when we look at now coming into the macro position and the world that we live in, how banks can perhaps take a step back, take a role or a seat a little above, sitting beyond the NIMs, sitting beyond the day-to-day challenges that we face, to perhaps some of the bigger challenges that the world faces and the country faces and the role that this large sector has to it. So if the rupee depreciates between 10 to 15%, what all cascading impact does that cause? A country which is dependent on energy imports, an energy import whose price itself has gone up, that price in rupee terms goes even more up, right? Similarly, foreign investors, in a market which is anyways not delivering the kind of returns some of the other emerging markets are delivering, when you have a rupee depreciation, it not only under-delivers, it actually destroys value. So it is inevitable that FPIs will take out money. If you have stop losses being triggered, that is going to erode wealth. There is no point of 5 headlines that how many crores went out. And the fact is, in the first 4 months, the amount which went out is equivalent to the entire last year. In my working career, I don't think I have ever seen FDI inflows becoming a negative number in an emerging market like this. We as bankers, therefore, coming to the point of trust, how can we be trusted to be a partner when the going gets tough? And not just a fair weather friend who's there to protect their NPAs and NIMs. The second theme I wanted to talk about, and now coming and linking some of this to the world of digital and digital public infrastructure, which again is for the public, another dimension of trust, right? And this year in November, UPI will celebrate 10 years. I fondly remember those days in November 2016 when we went live. By the way, HSBC took a very big step to become a shareholder in NPCI. We are also a shareholder in ONDC. That tells you that beyond being a participant, we believe in the DPI story of India, and we believed in it way back, more than a decade back. Before this success is in front of our head office, before this success in front of the world at large. So we believed in the vision. And therefore, if I flip to my position, my organization's position, as we sit in 2026, I would like to think, what can India's next game changer be in 2036? And moving forward, 2046, which is close to 2047, our Viksit Bharat goal, right? So if UPI has already changed or transformed, it is now a platform. Yes, we should continue to innovate on the edges, but the people who were there in 2015, 2014, who ideated towards that 2016 go live, is what we need to get back in the room to ideate in 2026, what will we achieve in 2036? We don't want to be in the same room in 2036 beating the drums on UPI, right? We have to do something new. The one theme which appeals to me, where I think India as a global economy, a global player can do better, is the connectivity of India to the world. And in a very humble way, in this humble room, financial sector is our domain, and how can the financial sector be better connected? So simple example, e-commerce. We are all aware of the large e-commerce play which is happening in India. But do we have one Alibaba? If you use the Amazon app, you go to any country. You don't need to even change the app. You just change the country. It will understand the GST or the VAT or the octroi or whatever in that country. It will link to the suppliers in that country. It will link to the buyers in that country. You could be sitting in a hotel ordering on Amazon's India ID from a foreign country seller. It will reach your hotel in 24 hours. That is global e-commerce. How can we have India's e-commerce players going global? As a bank, when we do shipment financing, trade financing, when we go into letters of credit, trust me, what we are fundamentally doing is not different than what we've been doing for 165 years. By the way, on a lighter note, the reason of HSBC's existence, I don't know how many of you know of our history, is trade. We were a British bank or a European bank created in Hong Kong. Why did Hong Kong even need a European bank? They already had a lot of Chinese banks. They had a lot of Hong Kong banks. The reason was that the ships used to take 6 to 9 months. The Silk Route for shipments from China or Hong Kong to reach Europe and UK would take 6 to 9 months. If you're an importer sitting in the United Kingdom, you're saying that, okay, let the goods come, land, I'll see whether they're fine. That's when I'm going to pay you. The exporter in Asia is out of funds. By the way, Calcutta is our 4th branch in the world. It was Hong Kong, Shanghai, Yokohama, and Calcutta. That tells you these are the Silk Route, the trade routes of history. So the reason this bank came into existence is because we knew the importer and the exporter. So we could tell the importer that, yes, we know the exporter, this is the bill of lading, I am telling you that the goods have gone on to the ship, and I'm telling the exporter that I trust the importer. Because mind you, he's taken a leap of faith, he's already shipped the goods, and he's waiting for his money to come. So I'm going to tell him that, yes, I know the importer in UK, and he's assured me that he's going to pay you once the goods reach. And that's how we give working capital financing. Because I have assurance on both sides. That's how I give trade insurance. I'm willing to go through the data of the ships which collapse. I know the weather patterns, and I'm willing to write you an insurance. So coming back to the need for a DPI in the world of trade, it's because of the way the rupee is managed, which creates this A1, A2 forms, which creates a lot of journey breakages, which is why when you go to a restaurant, you're paying your friend, in a minute you're taking out your card and you're taking out your mobile, but a letter of credit is still weeks and months. Okay, so if we want India to really integrate into that global economy, we need to integrate ports data, customs data, shipment data, financing data, link the global banks with the local banks, and this can throw open such a beautiful next wave of the globalized India using our digital public infrastructure. So this is the second point, a thought I wanted to leave with you. And lastly, I said I won't start with AI, but I cannot but not end with AI. So I think the way I look at it, more than a disruptor, it is a huge enabler. We're going to hear more and more about cybersecurity and how AI can come and hit us, but at the same time, how AI can be its own agent to defend against another AI. Because when an AI is hitting you, the only tech which can defend is AI itself. So AI fighting AI is the way ahead. And how we as banks, how we as tech players get the right AI in front of the other AI, and there'll be a competition. And I was actually genuinely mentioning to Sumnesh that law has to evolve as well. Today, if I take your ID and break into your account, why is that any different to me taking your key and breaking into your house? Why is financial crime different to breaking in physically? What is the legal deterrent? Today, if the amount is 1 crore, it won't, the cost of going to the court is not going to justify the loss. Assume it's a pensioner. For that person, 1 crore is his life saving gone. Which law is protecting that person? So I think we need to have deterrents before we jump into AI, because we are going to spend billions of dollars on AI as an industry, and it will create its own industry. Sorry for the tech people in this room. I know there is a full industry based on the fact that people are trying to steal money from other people, but I think we should address the root. But beyond that, I think on AI, the other piece is banking the world of AI coming to India. Mind you, if you look at the Viksit Bharat vision, it is not only AI for India, but to be the AI back office for the world. We hear about deep tech and the lack of perhaps big global brands like a Microsoft or a Google or a Netflix or a Samsung or an Apple. If you think back, India has not actually, very humbly we should admit, that we have not created a single global brand of that stature in the new economy. But 100% of those brands are run from India. A large part of those brands are headed by Indians. So that is our strength. When the world was creating Anthropics and OpenAIs of the world, we were helping solve and helping keep those platforms secure. People in the room here, people in the rooms in Hyderabad and Bangalore, were ensuring that the banks in United Kingdom, in US, in Japan, in Sweden, in Israel, everywhere, we are running those infrastructures. So I think that is a very big role. So frankly, sitting in a global bank, I'm sometimes amused that the tech that all of you in the ITAS industry develop for global banks is actually sometimes better than what you offer to the Indian banks. Also, the amount of money that the global banks spend in the same Bangalore's and Pune's and Hyderabad gets them platforms which are perhaps a cut above. So I would say that come together, offer those to Indian banks and elevate the Indian banks to global banks levels. The other thing is the cloud and the data economy. It's a huge opportunity because financial data is amongst the most secure data. And you will have data privacy laws, and these data and cloud are all landing. We've heard of Google's $20 billion in 𝐈𝐧𝐚𝐿, and you will have more and more of these investments, and people like us in this room have a huge role to play in harnessing the how behind the AI. Every company in India, every company in the world needs people who will implement AI for them. I see that to be the next job creator rather than AI being a job disruptor. So on that positive note, thank you so much. I realize time's up, and have a great day of conversations ahead.
Thank you so much, sir, for such powerful insights into strategy, transformation, and the future of BFSI innovation in India. Finally, I would like to invite Mr. Rajiv Gupta, Group President, PB FinTech Limited and Director, PB Pay and PB Account Aggregator, parent company of Policy Bazaar and Paisa Bazaar, to please join us on stage for his keynote address.
My fellow speakers on the dais, distinguished guests, regulators, leaders from the industry, the exhibitors, and the organizers ObserveNow, thank you for inviting me to be here today. As mentioned, we run two large brands, Policy Bazaar and Paisa Bazaar. The theme today, Tech Forward Redefining the Future of BFSI and AI, is extremely relevant because we are witnessing a fundamental shift in how financial services are being created, distributed, consumed, and experienced. Before I get into the keynote, let me set the context right, because today you have the cybersecurity guys, the IT guys, leaders from the industry, banking, insurance present here. Having heard about UPI, Aadhaar, from all of my fellow speakers who spoke before me, let me tell you, India today is at a juncture where 21 years from now, we are looking at Viksit Bharat as announced by the Honorable Prime Minister. What is India's structure today? About 140 crore people. 40 crore people live below poverty line, covered under social security schemes. Roughly about 20-30 crore people belong to higher middle class and HNIs and very high HNIs. But the real problem lies with those 60 crore people who are living hand to mouth, lower middle class and middle class across this large country. Three major problems, I think, as also mentioned by Mr. Sumnesh. First, how do we solve the issue of financial literacy in this country? Large country, financial literacy cannot be limited to tier 1, tier 2 cities. At Policy Bazaar, we have grown from 1 crore to a 35,000 crore premium company. And still we believe that the tier 3, tier 4 cities are untouched. So financial literacy becomes very key if at all we are seriously thinking about becoming a Viksit Bharat. How do we cover a country like India with multiple languages, multiple PIN codes, multiple villages, while UPI and Aadhaar have created revolution in the country? It's an example for the world. Bank accounts have been opened thanks to the initiative of the government. How many of them are getting used? Apart from DBT as and when it happens, most bank accounts remain inactive. People still borrow money from money lenders in the village, take 1,000 rupees in the morning, pay back 1,200 rupees in the evening. People don't realize why I should have a health insurance. Not having a health insurance can take me back to poverty line. People still don't realize why I should save for my future when I get old. So all this will have to be taught in local lingual languages, reaching out to every nook and corner of this country, identifying people. So it is an effort which the government and the private sector together across industries will have to collectively put and take target to create this education system if you have to build a very strong financial literate country. Second, my fellow speakers spoke about trust. Today, trust is the real currency, right? A lot of people don't know why, if I buy a health insurance, when there is a need, I'll get my claims paid on time. People still don't know if I borrow from a bank, my finances are going to be strong. So how do you build the trust? People don't trust. People still believe that the neighborhood person who knows me well is the right person to borrow, right? When I live hand to mouth, I don't see a necessity. I don't see a need to even think of insurance. With longevity increasing in this country, there was a time post-retirement, all of us planned to live for about 10-15 years. Today, that number is increasing to 25-30 years. People are living for 85-90. And this is only going to increase as we look at the future, right? So how many of us are sitting here and planning, what will I do post-retirement? What income source will I create for myself to take care of my family when I don't work? Next, India is proud today to have young generation, which is a very big pride for this country. But remember, today 10% of our country's populations are senior citizens. 20 years from now, 25 years from now, this number will be 25-30% of India's population. So we're talking about 60-70 crore senior citizens in this country. That is going to hit us hard. With zero social security scheme, which is only limited to a certain segment of people, joint family system eroding, how are these senior citizens going to take care of themselves without a health insurance plan? If they get unwell, who will take care of them? Without any income plan, how will they survive those 25-30 years? Have they built enough savings to be able to survive there? So I think clearly creating this awareness among today's 40-year-old, the third point, is so crucial that I'm sure people sitting in this room, there are several people who are below 40 or 40. How many of you have invested in a pension scheme? How many of you have invested in a health insurance plan? How many of you have bought a term insurance plan? How many, have invested in mutual funds? If this is the scenario in this room of educated people, imagine what is happening in our villages and talukas where the entire population lives. Now, what can AI do for us in this scenario? I have 4 minutes left. Let me tell you, when we built Policy Bazaar in 2008, we were one of the early adopters of AI in 2019-20. And what has transformed since then? Today we handle 1 million customers every day. When I say 1 million customers every day, I seriously mean 10 lakh customers connecting with us every day. Now, how do we deal with those customers without AI? Impossible, right? At the end of the day, the AI helps me to summarize the conversations I've had during the day. What is the customer expectation? How many of them bought a policy? How many of them did not buy a policy? How many of them did not take a loan from Paisa Bazaar, that's the other company we run. And that summary helps us to decide what we need to do next. What do we need to innovate? So we go back to our partners, whether it is insurance or banking, and tell them that while so many people purchase, there are so many people who did not buy because they felt their need is not being met with the products available on the portfolio. Second, processing such large amounts of applications, though we are integrated with APIs with the banks and insurance companies, in quick time, while I agree with the point which Sir made, that everything need not happen in split of a second, but how do we ensure that so many applications are processed and everybody is able to get their product in time? There was a time when I got my policy, when I first bought my policy in 1990, in about 60 days. Today, policies are issued in split seconds, whether it is a motor policy, in a few hours if it is a health insurance policy, in a few days if it is a term insurance policy. So all that processing is being helped by AI. Today, AI is also helping me to control claims, process claims, manage frauds. Machine learning with AI is helping us to deal with such large numbers that we are able to bring in efficiency into the ecosystem. So what should be done? It is AI which is going to help us to reach the entire population if seriously the country is dreaming of creating the right environment of insurance for all, banking for all. What is the right insurance product for me? What is the right credit? The right investment products? And who is going to financially guide me to understand that this is the right thing which I am doing? So there is room for 10 policy bazaars and 10 Paisa bazaars in this country. Such is the scope as far as financial services is concerned. You have seen telecom revolution, we have seen UPI revolution. We have to a large extent also seen, revolution in the banking. But there are areas which still have not reached the last mile. And for us, using AI effectively to be able to reach to this nook and corner without going back to offline mode is very crucial if we have to build a large country and make this country proud by making it the Viksit Bharat in times to come. So obviously, it is important that large digital platforms work in partnerships with banks, work in partnership with large insurers to create life goals for people, right? to ensure that they are able to protect their family, they're able to buy a house while they are still working, plan for the financial education of their children because their children do not want to continue only doing farming and agriculture. How do they manage rising healthcare costs in this country? And how do we plan for future? I think clearly the time has now come where we are moving from reactive finance to proactive finance. Imagine a future where financial advice becomes hyper-personalized, fraud is prevented in real time, claims are processed about instantly, and there is no long theoretical discussion here, right? But it is important that in financial services, AI cannot replace trust. Let us understand that. It can only strengthen trust because financial decisions are deeply personal. Customers are trusting institutions like us and banks for their savings, for their health protection, for their family security, and their future aspirations. Which is why responsible AI becomes extremely important. I'll conclude, I think there's less time. I believe convergence of AI, fintech innovation, digital public infrastructure, and trusted digital platforms will define the future of BFSI in this country. At PB Fintech, through platforms like Policy Bazaar and Paisa Bazaar, we have seen how technology-led innovation can solve real financial problems at scale. Thank you so much. I wish the third BFSI Confluence a great success. Thank you.